I could say, one thing, it would be that when you get to that point where you've just come to the end and you think, I just can't do this anymore. I don't want to live like this. And to quiet the should voice, to
Mm.
quiet the world's voice, and to just say, God, what would you have me do? The best decision I ever made was getting connected with you
Mhm.
and getting connected with this community. If I had not done that, I cannot imagine how I could still live in the bondage in the
Mhm.
prison that I was living in. It was so hard.
Hey friends, Heather Creekmore here. I'm glad you're listening to the Compared to You show today. Today we continue my interview with my friend and client, Tara. And you can listen to part one of the interview and hear Tara's story. She talked about all the hard that she has walked through, including an eating disorder she didn't even know could be diagnosed as an eating disorder, all kinds of struggles with addiction, struggles with her son having cancer of the eye. Whew, she has quite a story, so go listen to it. But then today we're going to get into how God used group coaching to help her find freedom on the food and body image side of things. So that's where we go today. She tells all about her experience with group coaching. And if this sounds like something you're interested in, the next group starts mid-January. So drop me an email, Heather at comparedtowho.me. Let me know if you're interested, if you want me to save you a spot and I can get you all the information you need. Or if you just want individual coaching, I'm doing that really all year round. So drop me a message and we can see if individual coaching is right for you. Well, here's today's show. I think you're going to enjoy it. Welcome to Compared to Who, the podcast to help you make peace with your body so you can savor God's rest and feel His love. If you're tired of fighting body image the world's way, Compared to Who is the show for you. You've likely heard lots of talk about loving your body, but my goal is different. Striving to fall in love with stretch marks and cellulite is a little silly to me. Instead, I want to encourage you and remind you with the truth of Scripture that you are seen, you are known, and you are loved no matter what your size or shape. Here, the pressure is off. If you're looking for real talk, biblical encouragement, and regular reminders that God loves you and you're not alone, you've come to the right place. I hope you enjoy today's show, and hey, tell a friend about it.
Had spent my whole life believing something and in leading up to a certain way and thinking I was walking in God's path for me. And all of a sudden that like shattered.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of the same time I was doing that journey with you, I also started realizing like something is wrong with the way that I'm eating. This isn't normal. Like God was showing me this is not okay. But I didn't know what to do. Like I was completely paralyzed and stuck. And at the same time, I was going through tremendous physical issues. I was having years of GI pain. I had gone for every type of procedure and endoscope and biopsies, and and literally ended up being sent home with laxatives.
Mm-hmm.
And that was sort of what came from that, which is
Yeah.
the worst thing that could have, at the
Yeah.
time. And then on the physical side, because I was beating my body with exercise in fear of holding on to this, I was experiencing tremendous physical pain in all sorts of areas. So at this point, when I found you, I was trying to do this. I had heard about the intuitive eating.
Mm-hmm.
You had mentioned it was okay. This is great. This is wonderful, but I didn't understand, and I brought it as another plan. This is a plan I have to do, and I have to do it right,
Mm-hmm.
and I have to do it. And I tried to do it on my own, and it got pretty scary and pretty messy. And that's when I was like listening to your podcast, and I heard about your group coaching and the individual coaching. And I think I just emailed you and I don't even remember what I said. I probably babbled, it makes sense. And I was just so overwhelmed. And I just wanted to like drive to your house and like knock on your door and just be like, help me. And I was so moved by everything that you shared, and everything that you said had touched me so much, and I connected with it so much. It was like it was like every time I heard you speak, you were sitting next to me holding my hand and we
Mm,
were having like coffee together. And for the first time, I don't know, I just felt hopeful. I felt like,
mm,
but I still wasn't ready. I still didn't know I had an eating disorder. That
mm.
was so crazy. Like that took a while for me
Yeah,
to really work with you
yeah,
and understand that.
yeah.
And
Yeah, and let me jump in for a second, Tara,
yeah,
because like I am a firm believer that until you figure out, I hate to say the word solve because that sounds so final, so like before and after picture, but until you get a grip on the body image side of things, the food side of things isn't safe, right? Like you
mm-mm,
can't. I mean, and that was how God was with me. Like God was very gracious to work with me on body image stuff. And that's why there's some language in Compared to Who that talks about like diet stuff because God hadn't touched my food yet. Like he couldn't have. He had to start with helping me with my body image and identity in him and make it safe for my body to be a different size before he could
yeah,
ever talk to me about what I was doing with my food. So, yeah.
yeah. And so fast forward to today, because I feel like again, I could sit and talk forever about the gift of what your program did, but the group coaching was just life changing. I mean, life changing. And I know that was so, I mean, that was God. I mean,
Mm.
I've never felt God as much as I have felt him in these past, oh, I'm not gonna be able to do the math well here. Past, oh, what, 11 months?
Something like that.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Then, I mean, just not only with what you gave me and the resources you showed me and the books that I read through you and the scriptures that became like new to me. I saw them in a whole new way. The truth that you opened my eyes to. And then the other group, the group of women that I have been connected with that I'm still on a daily basis. We literally hold each other up daily with encouragement and love as we walk through this life together and deal with,
Yeah.
it started off as this journey with this body image and it's just permeated every aspect of my life now because I realized how much that was really affecting every aspect of my life.
Yeah.
I mean, I was consumed by this.
Mm.
And I I walk in a freedom now that is so oh, wow. I mean, unfathomable is really
Mm.
like all I can say because I remember so many days just praying to God, like, I don't know how, Lord, but I can't live like this anymore.
Mm.
I am such a prisoner. And that's really
Mm.
what it was. It was like, and now the freedom that I have, it's so different though, because I used to think freedom was ease and comfort. It's
Mm.
not. It's
Yeah.
not easy. And there are hard days still, and I still have to be vigilant. It's a daily surrender. But I have this like whole community now from you to these beautiful women I met in your group, and then you connected me, with the intuitive eating for Christian women, and working with not I love non-diet dietitian, and like it's just it's for the first time in my life, I feel like I have beautiful women and friendships in my life
Mm.
too that are there's an acceptance and a love. Oh, what I still marvel at every day is I am in a body that is a size that if I had thought I would ever be this size in January, I would have said, and I don't mean this to sound like dramatic, but I would have said, I don't think I want to live. Like that's
Yeah.
how scary that was for me.
Yeah.
That like if I ever get to this size, then I have failed. I
Mm.
am worthless. I am no good. And I failed God. I failed myself. Um, because I equated that size um with so much of the outside with so much shame and guilt and it has nothing to do with. That's been a struggle. It's been a
Yeah.
struggle coming to terms with. And that's why I love listening to you on your journey and all the women I've connected with is that I have really found through the process of working with you to really, for the first time, I think, understand what it means to find my identity and my love in
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
and to seek him first, to seek his presence. And the prayer that I keep saying is more of him and less of me.
Yeah.
I was sort of at the stage where I was like scared to do anything. Stand up and walk up and downstairs and carry washing and pick up my kids. And then I was really bad. It was probably more like anxiety around it than, actual symptoms. I was scared to go for like walks and things like that. And now it's like I'm doing activity now that is exactly what I want to be doing, engaging with my kids, my family. And I never thought I'd get to a stage where I didn't even consider it anymore. I didn't even consider my pelvic floor. So I was at a stage where I was like, it just ruled my life. It was just on my mind all the time. So yeah, to get to a stage where I can go weeks without even thinking about it is just incredible.
Hey friends, Leanne is talking about the Tighten Your Tinkler program. You've heard me talk about it on the show before. I'm a big fan. Tighten Your Tinkler is what you need if you are struggling with pee leaks when you cough or sneeze, or going to the bathroom 100 times a day or night. Check out their site, friends. You will not be disappointed if this is something you struggle with. It doesn't have to be that way. It's tightenyourtinkler.com. Use the promo code Heather and you'll save $50. And insider information, I know the price of the program is going up in January. So get in now, save $50 using the code Heather, tightenyourtinkler.com. You will not be disappointed.
Self-forgetfulness.
Yeah.
To recognizing not only the idolatry, but the pride. The pride, that was huge for me to see that. And the more I focus on him, and the more I focus on what he can do through me. Even this morning, I was listening to a little Bible excerpt from First Peter, and it was talking about how women, you don't have to adorn yourselves. And I remember, reading that before and kind of missing the point that it was like, listen, it's not about what's on the outside, and I know we hear that, but it's like, it's what's coming out of our hearts. But for the first time, I'm living that and I'm feeling it. So like the head and the heart have connected, where that never, ever, ever happened before. It was just like, God, I know, but I don't feel it.
Right.
I know it, but I don't feel it. It's coming together and it's connecting. I just so desperately want to share this gift. Like I'm so on fire with I'm just so on fire inside, because when I think of how struggling and how much pain and how dark it got at times, and towards the end, just falling on my knees and crying, and then God bringing me to that January day and where I am now, and that it's not always easy, but I can be in a larger body, and I have people who even say to me, like, what are you doing? Like you like, how are you so peaceful? Like the world's going crazy. Like what's going on with you? Like you just seem different. Because my heart's different.
Yeah. And that's a huge testimony too, right?
Yeah.
And it's so good. And you shared a little bit about this in the beginning of your journey too. But I feel like that shame element is so real for so many people, right? We feel the shame and we want to cover the shame. We're desperate to cover the shame. And we try to cover the shame through getting our outsides so they look like, oh, well, I don't have anything to be ashamed of. Like there's no shame here because look at my body, look at my size, right? And I think what you've discovered is, that pride, the body pride, the trying to fix everything ourselves is a form of pride. Even with what God taught you through your son's cancer, like you were not in control, and surrendering that to Jesus is what actually covers the shame in a way that's so much more filling and so much more beautiful than any of our efforts. And then that's really where the freedom is having that shame covered. Like you don't have to be ashamed anymore of whatever size you're wearing.
Yeah.
because you know the futility in trying to cover the shame with, oh, I'm going to just go on another plan and try to get the body.
Yeah.
You know that doesn't work. So, but
Yeah.
Tara, when you signed up, okay, like I just, for someone who's like considering either doing group coaching next year or, you know, ready to sign up for individual coaching, like, were you a little nervous it wasn't going to work?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I was absolutely terrified. And to be honest, when I first started signing up, I was really hoping that you were going to tell me how to eat.
Mm,
I was like, okay, so maybe part of this body thing will be we'll talk about the hard stuff and I will, learn to to connect deeper with Jesus and learn my value through him. Um, and then Heather's going to help me figure out um like what my new like plan's going to look like for
yeah.
my life. Like
Yeah.
what the new like it really like it was so ingrained in me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I quickly realized that that was not how it works. And there is definitely like, the roller coaster of emotions are unbelievable. There's definitely, and I love how wonderful you were with us through this process of grieving. Like, there's just a lot of grieving. There's a
Yeah.
grieving period. There's a grieving of like what I thought my life was going to look like, what I thought I was going to look like. Um, there's a feeling of just like powerlessness and
Mm,
confusion and like I felt my whole life I've like planned and this and that and now what,
yeah.
like wait, I have to listen to myself and
Mm,
like I surrender and pray. I mean, it's really challenging because it's so opposite of everything that I'd ever done,
yeah.
and that's exactly why it worked.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
exactly why it works, because it wasn't the world's way, it wasn't my way,
Yeah.
it was God's way, and it's
Yeah.
what his path was. And I just couldn't do it on my own because it's like, the definition of sanity, doing the same thing over and again,
Mm-hmm.
over and over again, expecting
Mm-hmm.
different results. Or like, I can't fix, I can't help work through some of these things with the same mind that's creating them.
Yeah.
So it was like, I just needed to like have those wow moments that God gave me through you and through the
Yeah.
process.
And did
And
you,
definitely when I start, yeah,
cool.
yeah, go
Well,
ahead.
I was just gonna
I
say,
was, I was, yeah.
well, like, so we as part of group coaching, you get access to me, right? And so how was that? How was your access to me? Was there any time in particular that you remember reaching out in a crisis?
Oh my gosh.
You know what I'm
Okay.
thinking of,
So
right?
I do. I know
Okay.
exactly what you're thinking of. And first of all, the access to you was the best thing. I mean, I can't say the best thing. It was, the whole thing was so amazing. But there was like, it was literally like, because I felt like I was taking you with me and I needed that. It was so raw and so hard and so scary. I needed to know that like I couldn't do it alone. I felt so, and I'll never forget, like, you were so great because you were always available and like always available in an email or whatever. And like and I say what I needed to hear and ground me. But I will never forget the first time after my body really started to change and I really had started, I gained weight pretty quickly because I was going from, hello, anorexia, not eating food, to now not only eating foods, but allowing myself to get rid of the restrictions and to say all food, you're allowed all foods. And I went into Target because I needed to find something because none of my clothes fit me. And I was like, I'm just going to get like a simple, I think I needed a dress and like a bathing suit, which, oh, that was like the hardest thing you could possibly do when your body changes, right? Is, and I know you've done your podcast on them, and oh Lord, they helped me. And but I went in there, and I will never forget. It was I I didn't probably didn't take some of the recommendations you said, like, got in front of the mirror under the lights,
Uh-huh.
like stripped myself down and just stared. It was just the jaw hit the floor.
Mm,
I quickly tried to cover it up with put on the outfit, looked at the size, judging myself,
mm,
judging, looked at it and just sat there staring at myself from all angles. And I'll never forget it. I left the dressing room and I just started sobbing. I'm walking through Target, I'm sobbing. And I'm like, I'm paralyzed. I don't think I can get behind the wheel of a car right now. And I texted you. You immediately responded. and you're like, find a quiet spot if you can. I think I literally went over to like an aisle and like sat
Uh-huh.
down on a shelf
Yeah, I
of
think you
Target,
said you
and I'm
did. Yeah.
sitting on a shelf in Target. There are people walking by me. I am sobbing my eyes out, and it was it was oh God, it was. I felt like you were sitting next to me. You sent me scripture to read. You sent a psalm. I have Psalm 63. Oh, I wish I could remember. I still have it. And uh, it was just like, it was just exactly what I needed in that moment. And it was incredible because I remember I was like, I'm never leaving. I'm never moving from this spot. Like, I'm just
Mhm.
going to sit here. I'm going to sit here. I'm going to crawl up in the fetal position and I'm going to sob. I felt so like just broken. And I got up and I got out, and I remember getting in the car and I put on my Christian music,
Mhm.
which you advised, which has been, and I was smiling.
Mhm.
And it was like, oh God, thank you. Like, we turned something that felt so devastating into something so beautiful, like a gift that, like, this is progress. This is part of the process. There is a breaking down, there is a grieving, there is a letting go. Um, and that was just, I'll never forget that. That was such, like, those moments along the way were those moments where God worked through you
Mhm.
to come alongside and build me up. And I was able to like go through my closet. I've been able to go through my closet and get rid of the clothes that don't fit me without
Yeah.
breaking down. I've been able to do things I never thought possible
Yeah.
because of the work that we did together.
Yeah. What about when you first met the girls? You call them the girls, so I'll call them the girls. They're all
Yeah, the
women.
girl.
but but what, like, how was that the
Yeah.
first, because the first week of group, I mean, even your group, like, you're so
Mhm.
tight now. Some of you actually got together
Mhm.
in person and you live
Oh,
like in various
yes.
parts of the
Yes.
middle of the country and East Coast.
Mhm.
But like, what
Yep.
was it like the first week or even 2 weeks? You're kind of like, oh, I don't, what was that like?
Oh my. To be honest, I was actually okay. So obviously, I'm terrified, like terrified of, oh, what are they going to think I look like, and I was also like so upset. This is what's crazy. Like, they didn't get to see me in my cute little body. They're only going to see me in
Mm,
my big body.
mm,
And I remember thinking like they're not going to like me as like that's how crazy, that's how ingrained that mentality was. But I remember being nervous of what they would think because, we're on Zoom and we can see each
yeah.
other, nervous of what they would think I would look like, nervous of how, like, they would relate. Like, am I going to be crazy? Like, am I like, am I the worst case ever? Like, I'm
Hmm.
crazy, I'm severe, I'm out there. No one can be this bad, because that's
Right.
sometimes what we think with the thoughts that we have. Um, and I remember the first call feeling so nervous and everybody was kind of quiet.
Mhm.
And when I get nervous, I talk a lot. And I feel like I babble and I don't make sense, which is probably forgive if there's any of that happening here because, but I do. And I feel like I remember, I think even after the first call, I think I might have even emailed you and said, oh gosh, I'm like so embarrassed. I feel like I said all the wrong things. I feel like I did all the right. And you're like, and you even said something comforting. You're like, yep, that's what happens after that. That's that sort of like we go back into ourselves
Mm,
and we think, oh, and then it's like, oh, wait a minute, this is not about me.
yeah.
Right. And it was so wonderful though, because what I did take away from it was that we instantly were all like, oh yes, we are all in this together. We are all feeling these things. We are all thinking these things. There was like this feeling of a shared brain,
Mm-hmm.
which was such a comfort. Like, our experiences, and it may have different nuances to it, but the feelings and the thoughts that are center around this body image and the shame was so, so, so similar.
Yeah.
And that's where that bond came in. And it's like, and I think that's why we're still so close today, is because we always joke around how, like, you meet people the first time and everyone meets superficially and you put on your best face and you put
Mhm.
on, like, let me show you what you want to see. We got to meet each other in our brokenness. We got to show each other like our most vulnerable sides and realize that we were all experiencing it together. And there's such a gift in that and such a grace in that. Um, that there's nothing we feel that we can't share about what we're thinking or feeling, because we have come to realize that we have all either been there or going through it, or
Yeah.
but I think that definitely takes a little time to build, for sure. It takes time to build a little bit of that. And I remember one of the first times that we kind of branched off, and you said, like, let's do, let's have a little group. You guys, if you guys want to branch off and kind of talk outside of our Zoom, I was terrified to do that, because I've never felt comfortable with women, and what are they going to think, and how are we going to do this? And again, like you said, it's blossomed into something so awesome that we literally all traveled from different parts of the country to find a central spot, just so we just wanted to hug each other. We just wanted to physically hug each other and be like, wow, and we say it all the time, like, God works through each other to help us hear the things we need to hear and move through day to day as things arise, because they always will.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So as we wrap up, like, what's one thing you feel like you didn't get to say about coaching or your journey? I know that's a pretty broad question, but like, what's burning? Like, what do you feel like?
Oh, Lord,
I really want people to know this.
Yeah. I know. My heart is like overflowing with so much. I just have so much gratitude, and like, I have such a desire to want the hurting women out there to know that there is a better way, and that Jesus really was the answer. If I could say, one thing, it would be that when you get to that point where you've just come to the end and you think, I just can't do this anymore, I don't want to live like this, and to quiet the should voice, to quiet the world's voice, and to just say, God, what would you have me do? The best decision I ever made was getting connected with you and getting connected with this community. If I had not done that, I cannot imagine how I could still live in the bondage, in the prison that I was living in. It was so hard. And the freedom that I've gained in other areas of my life, like the fact that I can even eat food with enjoyment now, is such a gift. But the friendships I've made, the women I get to talk to, and the way that it's just filtrated into my life with my children and my husband, my family. I am just so grateful that God did not let my fear or my, embarrassment or whatever, the million voices in my head that always got the better of me, that I did not listen to them. And I just listened to the gut that said, just do something different. Yeah. Email Heather, just do it. Just put it out there. And it's like, he took care of the rest. He just really took care of the rest every step along the way. He is taking care of the rest. And, oh yeah, my heart just goes out to every woman that experiences this, because it is real, and it can be so hard and so lonely at times, but oh gosh, Jesus is so good, and he has given you this beautiful ministry, and he is working through you. So yeah.
Oh. So you're going to start helping me. I've recruited you, right?
Yeah.
So this is the first maybe official announcement. We're trying to get the Facebook community, the Body Image for Christian Women Facebook community. It's a group under the Compared to You Facebook page. We're trying to get that alive. Like, I think there are lots of people listening to the show that want an outlet to just even start conversations about maybe what they've heard in a podcast episode, or, what they read in Compared to Who, or what they're struggling with. And so we want that to be a place where you can join and start a conversation. Now, I'm going to say it's a safe space because it's a Facebook group. I mean, I think there's like 500 women in there now, but they're all really quiet. So I need
Yeah.
some people that are ready to be courageous and
Mhm.
share something. So
Mm.
others can reply me too, and we can support each other in that way. But Tara is going to take over as the community manager of that group. I mean, that group has not done well because I am just stretched way too many directions.
Mm.
And that's kind of not been the first thing on my priority list.
Yeah.
But Tara's going to take over. So she's going to be, I wanted you all to kind of meet her, hear her story, know that she's someone who gets it, who's
Mhm.
walked through some hard, who's not going to be judging you when you put
Mm.
your junk in that group.
Mhm.
She's going to meet you with grace and
Ah,
understanding and say, me too, sister, let's take these
yes.
steps this direction. So I want you all to feel safe with Tara, and I'm going to vouch
Mm.
for her as a safe person. But she's
Mm.
going to take over as community manager of that group. And so just look over the next couple of months, sign up for that group if you haven't signed up already. The link will be in show notes. But just like flag it. And if you're not a Facebook person, like I totally get you. Like
Yeah.
I'm becoming less of a Facebook program person, but you can go to that group, and then like there's a little thingy dinger where you can set that page, that specific Facebook group page, as a direct link on your phone. So you don't have to like go into the Facebook app every time and try and end up scrolling for 15 minutes before you're like, oh yeah, that's right, I was going to go to that group Heather mentioned. No, you just put it as a direct link on your phone. So you can just go right to the group and forget all the other noise. If that's a distraction or problem for you, just forget all that other stuff, but be a part of this group so we can start encouraging each other, so we can have conversations. Because I know some of you are listening to these episodes and you're like, I just wish I had someone to talk to about this.
Mhm.
Like, this rattled me. But I don't think my friends would get it. So who can I talk to about this? I'm giving you
Mhm.
a place where you
Yeah.
can go and have someone to talk to you about this. And even if no one else responds, Tara will respond to you.
Absolutely. And I
So
would love to. I would
yeah,
love
yeah.
to.
And what did I miss, Tara? Any thoughts you have about that group or?
I no, I think that's great. And I think what I'm so excited about, which I think is really funny that you said like maybe not a Facebook person. I am not a Facebook person. I'm literally haven't been on Facebook until now. So this is all new for me. I'm going to learn how to use it. My tech skills are so poor. So there'll probably be many moments you can all laugh at me when my typos are probably going to make some of you giggle. But the truth is I think from doing the group with you and having a smaller like text thread that I have with these girls in this group has been like a lifeline. And that's where I really believe. And I love that you're doing this, Heather. And like you said, you're stretched so thin. God love you. You do so much and it's wonderful. But like we can't all text and email you every day like we wish we could. So this provides the opportunity to be able to kind of all just be together and to be able to, when something pops up. And that's kind of what I do, as we call it. I call them my girls. It's the same thing. Like as our lives pop up and things come, we have questions or challenges, or we need prayer. We need someone to pray for us
Yeah.
about something. We just go, we ask, we share, and just knowing that you're not alone and there's someone else who hears you, who sees you, who feels and been through what you're through, and exactly no judgment,
Yeah.
just grace and mercy and love, because that's what Jesus gives us.
Yeah. Amen. And I love that you share that, because I was just thinking like the holidays are coming up. And that's a
Oh, good
super
point.
stressful time for those of us with body image stuff,
Really?
right? Like, in addition to all
Yes.
the food stuff, it's like, oh, I've got to see like this family member who always has something to say about
Oh,
my
yes.
size or my shape. And so, like, this friends, that like if you're listening and you're not part of this group yet, this is probably the perfect time to join this group, because you are going to have opportunities to say, me too, me too. Oh,
Uh-huh.
me too. Okay. And there's
Mhm.
so much, as Tara said, there's so much comfort in
Mhm.
feeling like, I love how you put it, like the shared brain, in just
Yeah.
knowing, oh, I am not crazy. Like there's a lot of other people that think this way too, or struggle with these same thought patterns that I struggle with. Praise
Mhm.
God, I'm not alone in this. And so I'm excited to see what God does in this group, and how he builds it, and how this really is a lifeline for
Yeah.
us to encourage women. And I appreciate you being a part of that. Well, Tara, thanks so much for sharing your story. And it's been so fun to walk through this with you, because it's just, I mean, it's a gift to me to watch God work, and to see and to remember back to where you were in March, April of last year. And I could probably pull up those old email messages that I got from you. They were long.
Oh my,
but
my gosh, they were so long.
But there's so
You're
much,
so gracious.
so much sincerity just in like you said, like you were at a point where you're like, I need help. And I think that in general, this is when the program works best, right? Like if you are thinking about coaching because you want me to suggest whether or not you should be keto or intermittent fasting or something else, like group coach, no, you're still thinking a diet's going to work. But if you've come to the place where you're like, okay, I know there is no diet, no exercise plan that's going to fix this for me. I know I need something meatier. And that no food pun intended. I need something that can really change my life in a way that none of these other plans have done. And that's my sweet spot. That's when, hey, send me an email like Tara did and let's get on my calendar. That's when we can do some real hard work. And like you've heard in Tara's story, where January you're at the bottom and November, almost a year later, you're feeling confident and comfortable and helping me run a Facebook group. So, hey.
I know. God's amazing. He's so good. It's such a gift to be a part of this ministry. It really is, to be able to, even if there's one person that hears this and feels compelled and changed, then it was worth it, because it's just such a gift. So I'm just humbled, and I'm so grateful to be a part of this, because you've changed my life, and I want to help change other people's lives the way that you changed mine.
Well, thanks, Tara. And thank you for listening today. And I really hope something in today's episode helped you stop comparing and start living. And again, if you're the one, drop a message. It's never too late or too early to make a change. So if you're the one, let's connect. Thanks again, Tara. And thank you for listening. We'll catch you in the next episode. Bye-bye. Oh, hey there, before you go, if something from today's show blessed you, may I ask a huge favor? Leave a review on your favorite platform. Seeing your 5-star reviews is a huge encouragement to me. Not sure how to do it? You can go to comparedtowho.me/podcast, scroll to the bottom, and you'll find all the information. And while you're at comparedtowho.me, check out some of the more than 500 articles on there about body image, comparison, all the things you're thinking about. Plus, you can find out more about my books, or you can grab a time for a free 10-minute call to see if coaching is right for you. I'm so honored to be a part of your journey out of body image and comparison frustration, and I can't wait to hear how God is working to set you free.